2007 was the greatest and the worst year in my entire life.
Radio, so you don't have to focus.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Wang, and I'm so excited to be here today to share with you my story. Now, if you had told me prior to 2007 that this was going to be my future, I probably would have had difficulty believing you. Not that this is unappealing, but it didn't align with my former self. I'm going to share with you a very personal and life-changing story that I had not opened up and shared until recently. In fact, the organizers of this pageant, who I'd known since 2003, they're going to be hearing this for the first time as well. 2007 was my rock bottom year that pushed me out of my comfort zone and into this existential crisis, forcing me to question the purpose of my existence, the meaning of my life. But before I get into that, allow me to paint a picture of my life prior so you understand the sacrifice that I made to be where I am today. I was born here in Oakland and very lucky to be from the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm third generation Chinese American and very proud of my heritage. I moved down to San Diego for undergrad, and after graduating, I stuck around, found a great job in finance, met a great guy who would eventually become my fiance, and he and I owned a luxury home in downtown San Diego. We had the privilege of traveling the world, and let me tell you about him. He's so funny, really charismatic, very intelligent, successful, and he is Chinese. That's like winning the jackpot of the Chinese American parents' marital expectations lottery. Now, back then, when I naively thought life was supposed to go exactly how you planned it, I was occupied with this checklist, textbook life of what I wanted to accomplish by 30. I was on the road to achieving everything that society, my culture, and my family have conditioned me to want to achieve. And that is, you will find happiness and stability and status and with being with the perfect partner, which is great. I mean, who wouldn't want these milestones? These are the norm for majority of my peers of young women. Now, society desires people to be shaped in the same exact mold, stripping us of our individual selves. And you know that Asian mold I'm talking about. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, marry your kind. I was achieving the Chinese American parent's dream. So what was the issue? How did I go from this being my priorities to this? It all started with this little scar right here, which I never cover up anymore because this is proof that I went to battle. All right, that's the most skin you're going to see for the rest of this talk. Your tickets didn't cost that much. On that spot, I found a lump growing in 2007. And that lump went from the size of a pea to a large grape. So I rushed to the doctors, had a biopsy done, and the pathologist told me it was cancer. I had it removed, but this type of cancer was very rare and very aggressive. It was the kind of cancer that was going to come back every few years. My mom's former boss had this same cancer, and every few years, more and more of his back was surgically removed. I was devastated. I felt like my spirit shattered into a million pieces. Every negative emotion that you can imagine a cancer patient experiences, I felt on a daily basis. Fear, sadness, regret, worry, but most of all, questioning the meaning of my life. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the concepts of emotional health in Eastern medicine and ancient Greek medicine, you harness negative emotions in certain emotions. For instance, your liver holds on to anger and resentment, fear and worry into your kidneys. anxiety and grief in your gut. And if you hold it there and you leave it unprocessed, it depletes the qi from those organs. So you can imagine, with the cocktail of negative emotions that I was feeling, I was making myself sick emotionally, mentally, physically. I asked myself on a daily basis, I did everything right by the books. Why is this happening to me? What can I take with me when I die? I can't take my money. I can't take my fiance. Has my life been beneficial or meaningful to anyone? What have I contributed to the world? Now, I firmly believe that modern Western medicine is essential for our survival. But I also believe that there's this whole other world of healing modalities that have existed for thousands of years that are now being proven to be preventative at early stages. And these modalities, they can coexist with modern medicine and work in conjunction. My new mission was to find out what they were. I explored all possibilities to see what can prevent this cancer from growing back in order to avoid additional surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, all of which are incredibly harsh on the body. So I dove headfirst into everything that I could find that's been proven. I tackled mental and emotional health with yoga, journaling, meditation, lots of reflection, and I also adopted an attitude for gratitude through forest bathing, which I highly recommend, now proven to boost the immune system. I switched to a plant-based diet integrated with Chinese and Ayurvedic nutrition and herbalism. Covered my energetic health with acupuncture, energy healing to ensure the flow of qi was at its optimal rate. And let me tell you, I had never felt so good in my entire life for the first time. In fact, this is what's happened. My digestion improved, less bloating, and that meant more nutrition was flowing through my body. And with that, inevitably, your energy levels increase. And so my energy levels surged and were even killed throughout the whole day. My circadian rhythm regulated. I was sleeping through the night, waking up feeling refreshed. Mental clarity and ability to focus and concentrate was the sharpest it had ever been. My mood and perspective shifted from sadness and fear to positivity and optimism. This is how powerful I felt just by opening myself up to ancient modalities. One night while I was meditating, I received this intuitive insight that my biopsies needed to be challenged. So I sent not one, but 3 of my biopsy samples to the largest cancer centers in the United States. And I had a very intimate discussion with whatever higher power was up there when I sent them off. I said, universe, if this was a mistake, I promise I will treat this body like a sacred temple. And I will dedicate my life to the service of teaching, healing, and empowering others to take responsibility and charge of their health. And guess what? All 3 came back negative. It was a misdiagnosis. It wasn't cancer. It wasn't cancer. It wasn't cancer. I just got the green light on my second chance to live, and my new mission was crystal clear. So I decided to make even bigger life changes. I quit my job in finance, which I never said was fulfilling. It was more for financial stability. I broke my engagement to my fiance, who was incredibly nourishing and supportive throughout the entire process. But when you go through something that intense, it's impossible to come out the other end the same exact person. And sorry, ladies, he's taken. I decided to go to a graduate program studying nutrition in Los Angeles. And nutrition, I feel, is one of the core foundations for healthy outcome. But I encountered resistance with this plan. The elders in my family approached me, especially those who worked in healthcare, and said 3 things. Charlene, you should not have broken your engagement without consulting us. Secondly, we can't support you studying a major that ends up with a career that's so low paying and not highly regarded in the medical field. forget about these ideas. Don't waste your money and time on a dead-end career. And lastly, find a man, get married, find a job, and just settle down. So I stuck all that advice in my back pocket and off to grad school I went in Los Angeles on a full fellowship ride. And let me tell you, my new life felt so liberating and different. Now, I'll never forget their advice because it came from a good place. It was what they thought was best for me, which is the path of least resistance. But that wasn't my path. So during my graduate year, I founded Auric Nutrition and Wellness. I took my practice with me to Colorado Springs, Colorado, to complete my dietetic residency, became a registered dietitian, and have been thriving there since. And I'm excited to announce that I am expanding my practice here to the West Coast. Now, I challenge you all to ask yourselves a question. But you must exclude the following: social conditioning, cultural influences, pleasing others. With all that out of the way, what does your life look like? How do you want to live your life? Now, my road looked like complete lunacy to my family, but look how much happier I am. And my family, they're prouder of me than they've ever been because of the change that I'm doing. If you had known Charlene pre-2007, you would have remembered her as this box-checking egomaniac who was on autopilot. But the Charlene that stands before you today, she leads her life humbly with her heart. And she doesn't need to check boxes to validate that she's enough, just like all of you are enough to not have to check boxes. Folks, I'm Charlene. I'm hosting a table in the back, and I invite you to come by and say hi. And if you have any interest in personalized nutrition, herbalism, energy medicine, or energy healing, then I'd love to give you more information. I'm so grateful to have been invited to this talk, and I hope that my story can inspire you to pioneer your own path. Thank you.